Alright, so we're rolling with another episode. This is episode 27, I believe. We're closing up on 30.
Wow, doesn't seem like it. That's half a year.
Yep. And what did we have go down this last Saturday at 305? We had a good undercard. Chase and Willie went at it. And then we had the Armageddon Gauntlet signature match. The crowned a new Armageddon champ, Inestra. So
Man, what a good worker.
So I don't know if you've ever told me the story. What was the origin of the Armageddon Gauntlet? What made you come up with that?
Like I said before, I got this weird fucking thing with pop culture, you know. So, pardon me. See what I mean when we were just talking about Bill Watts? I can connect with pop culture. I can connect with people half my age, you know. Half the people I spend the most time with are probably less than half my age. You know what I mean? But I connect to them. I connect to young people, you know, because I don't know, maybe because I'm young at heart, or I don't know, personality-wise, street smart, you know what I mean? I feel like in a non-preaching way, guys, I just help people develop, and maybe I can hit them up with what I figured to be older school personality traits, positive ones like integrity, put yourself in other people's shoes, treat them the way you want to be treated. You know, they'll come to me today with certain stresses about relationships. I ain't no motherfucking Rona Barrett. Would that be the right person to say? Or Dinah Shore, or Oprah, or Dr. fucking Phil. But I can easily say, and it's so easy when you're outside the situation, put yourself in their fucking shoes. So, that being said, when Woo Wrestling and One Wrestling were lifting the curtain, you know, I panicked and I couldn't believe it. And, you know, I know the old timers were fucking pissed about lifting the curtain. So I said to myself right away, well, rather than go out there and become an obnoxious asshole, I'm not happy with this shit either. How can we make this work? You know what I'm saying? So I would open my mind to certain things, you know. I've worked with some Mexicans, for example, in the industry, some, you know, legit luchadors, not these half-speed, American-born hybrid, half-speed lucha motherfuckers that are a dime a dozen today, but some actual luchadors, you know. I learned how to work out there and have compelling matches with anybody, if they could speak the fucking language or not, with Japs even, and not have to call anything and have good, compelling matches, you know. So I started to have interest in Puerto Rico, IWA Puerto Rico in particular, and the focus of IWA Puerto Rico then was Ricky Banderas. El Macias was his name down there. You guys probably know him as El Muertes because everybody was secretly gay or gay for Lucha Underground. When I started working with them, Ricky lived in Bayamon. Ricky, you know, he had a house in Bayamon while he was working down at AAA. So at one point I wanted to put together a promotion, that which I've told you about, called Pro Wrestling Worldwide. We have 4 hours of watched television on the island. 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours on Sunday. We had Ricky at AAA in Mexico. And then we had Bison Smith, who was in Noah, Japan. And then I also was doing some work with Ring of Honor. So what I wanted to do was have 1 hour of our Puerto Rican wrestling on Saturday, 1 hour Puerto Rican wrestling on Sunday, and then the second hours of both days be pieces from all those companies I was telling you about. And then what we were doing was basically doing that for a year and then start talent invasions. That shit, to this day, if it could be done, would be more watched than AE fucking W, or that small run of interest that New Japan had on Axis. Am I lying?
No, I don't think you are.
No, that would be a fucking outstanding idea. So, as those things, you know, I just didn't have the energy, I didn't have the resources, because the second time I went down there without an angel investor, you know, so I didn't have the resources, so I was just trying to work with what I had. And in the process of that, I started to open my mind to what we had available to us, which is even fucking crazier. Galavision in Chicago Market on Saturday and Sunday afternoons used to carry 4 hours of fucking lucha. Same channel, back to back. AAA on Galavision, CMLL to follow. Same bullshit Saturday and Sunday. So I was watching the Blue Demon Cup. And I thought, well, let's talk about being creative, you know. In wrestling, since I've been in it, the popular belief has been that there's really nothing innovative. You just recycle everybody's shit. Which is in part true, because you got Ric Flair. He was not the original Nature Boy. You know, Ric Flair drew a lot of money. He didn't draw the kind of money that Buddy Rogers drew, the original Nature Boy. You know what I mean? They both stole, or Buddy's more stole from Gorgeous George. You know what I mean? There's been some stealing, but there's also been some real creative motherfuckers that have done things that haven't been done before. The problem is, though, you got to figure out how to do those things like the gauntlet, and also not complicated, because even though people are more educated today, they don't want their wrestling that fucking complicated. So I was watching CML, and they had something that I haven't even been able to find a fucking match on YouTube to study. It was the Blue Demon Cup. And I didn't know there was a Blue Demon Senior and a Junior. And the way they did it was they didn't have the guys outside the ring being lumberjacks, but you got randomly called from outside the ring, and then you went outside the ring after. Japan used to do their battle royals like that too. But I thought, fuck, well, they're out there, make them fucking lumberjacks. I think people appreciate it, and I think that they have. You know, it's just not as easy as you would think with talent today. That, I mean, our talent works with us weekly, once a week, twice a week. Let's say they work for us 1.5 times a week. It's not as easy to make sense of it as it would have been if I was in Memphis and we were working 8 times a week. You know, so that's where the challenge comes in. Knowing that it's going to be compelling and different, and it does get over with the people that see it, you know, with the amount of money that we have to spend to promote it, which is nothing. You know what I mean? But it also gives a good experience, and you can tell by watching these motherfuckers are stimulated by something new and different themselves. So we used to do what, annually? When I started looking at AEW and New Japan and Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling, and of course Vince, you've always got to pay attention to Vince. I said, well, fuck that shit. Why don't we do it monthly? Because it's one of our signature matches. What do we want to do? There's a whole bunch of shit we want to do, but the things that I want to appeal to people with are the Challenge Pro Cup, which is actually triple threat wrestling. I want us to be the innovators of that. And I think we've been doing it really well, and it's been getting over. And then also this fucking gauntlet thing. Actually get a strap and call somebody the Armageddon Gauntlet champion.
See, that's stuff I never knew. I don't think I ever even asked you what spawned the idea of the gauntlet.
Yeah, well, we were talking about stressors, you know, and this generation, and I'm going to put myself in that too, because even an old guy, you're around it, everybody thinks they have to have things done now. Not thinking themselves, I'm fucking 20-something years old, take my time, I'm not going to make as many mistakes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you get caught up in that shit, even if you're somebody that's my age, and then we end up overthinking. What the fuck happens when we overthink? We're prone to depression. We're prone to anxiety. You know what I mean? So I do my best shit when I am decompressed and the pressure is off. Meaning I'm just sitting there channel surfing in my fucking underwear on a Sunday, and I happen upon something, and I just do what Dutch Mantell did. Or Luke Williams. Dutch walks around with his fucking notebook. He doesn't fucking sit there and write till his hands cramp. He jots a few things down, then puts his thoughts together. Luke Williams of the Bushwhackers is the best finish man in the industry that I've come across. And I'm going to go ahead and say fucking ever, because Jerry Jarrett even said it. You know what I mean? Walks around with his fucking tape recorder. And he can put together 20-minute finishes that are fucking things you've never seen before. So I try to just keep it simple like that. I write a note or two, I put the fucking shit in my back pocket, and I refer to it as I keep moving. You know what I mean? And that's where I come up with this type of stuff, and then I got to figure out how to implement it with the guys.
Well, and you talked about, stuff being ripped off or whatever.
Yeah.
At this point, I mean, pro wrestling's been around for so long. I think it's impossible to not be copying something or other in some way or not. But there's a difference between just blatantly ripping something off and taking a concept as the foundation and making it your own, like you did with the Blue Demon Cup and made it the Armageddon Gauntlet. You know?
Yeah, it was a starting point. But to me, I don't even think it was that big of a thing for them. You know what I mean? I don't even think it was that big of a thing for CMLL, because if it was, we'd be able to find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, Google or YouTube. I haven't done it for a long time. YouTube Blue Demon Cup, see if it comes up. I don't even think so. So, it's a starting point. What can we do different? How can we do it better? And how can we make it better and different, but along the same lines without complicating it? You know what I mean? I've been in around the business 30-something years now. 33, 34, I don't fucking know. But, for example, this Saturday night, what do we got? The All Japan Style Battle Royal. Now, I fucking dealt with, like when I watch old All Japan, I see guys that I knew from the territories. I see guys that I knew from working with Vince, World Class, whatever the fuck. I've never seen anybody do an All Japan Style Battle Royal. You fucking gotta do it by pinfall. As soon as a man ends up on his back, he could have fucking 14 guys pile on him. 1, 2, 3, he's out. You know what I mean? That's a great concept. And it makes a battle royal even more special. And, it's their shit, but we're going to make it better and bring it up to the times. Bring it up to 2020. You know what I mean? And I watch those people react, during All Japan, which, they're non-emotive in Japan compared to us. And then I saw how people reacted here, and I don't think there's a better way to actually show your fucking guy who's going to be the number one contender actually earn that motherfucking spot.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done this before, and it was a really fascinating thing to watch.
Yes.
It's I don't think it's being done. I mean, we've had people rip our shit off in the past, so it hasn't been done by anyone else yet, except for us in the States that I know of.
No, you're gonna start seeing it in goofy places, but nothing to whatever, and they're gonna justify. Well, it wasn't Randy's original idea. No, it wasn't my original idea, but it's my idea that's going to make it better. We're going to make it better, make it compelling, and bring it up to 2020. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, of course, those companies who are going to be ripping us off, they don't mean dick anyway, so
yeah, exactly.
Who really cares?
Exactly. But I think it's compelling shit, and I think that the people find it compelling, and the fact that we're trying to do different stuff and not fucking complicate. In other words, not reinvent the wheel, reinvent fire. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff we come up with is borderline that because it's hard to find the verbiage, but once you watch, you pick it up quick,
Yeah. No, one thing I like about our concept matches is that I feel like on the surface they might seem a little complicated, but once you actually get in there and watch it happen, it's real easy to pick up on what's going on.
Yeah, well, we simplified that point system shit,
Yeah.
We're probably going to end up... When do we got to do a Friday? Not this Friday, not next Friday, or the Friday after?
It would be next Friday or the Friday after, because we'll be into August.
So, well, I guess we got to make that decision quick. Yeah. Because we're taping Fridays for Patreon.
Yeah.
We
always said one Friday a month, so it doesn't.
So that's when we're gonna do a point system match again, though.
Yeah.
So you mean like there's 4 Fridays or 5 Fridays?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
We didn't say it was going to be the first or second Friday of every month. We told them one Friday a month. So.
Thank God.
That way, that way we can work around your schedule and everybody's schedule and figure out what's best for everybody without putting ourselves into a corner.
Yeah, I feel you. I understand. That's great. But anyway, so that's what we're trying to do, I think we're doing well. I mean, we're still here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm not bragging. I'm not one to brag, and I don't think I could brag or be cocky when I talk to my shrink and my therapist. I don't think it's in me anymore because I have a humility like embedded in me,
Yeah.
I think I battle more with the self-esteem low self-esteem than that. But anyway, but you know what I used to do? This is fucked up, and it's written, and I'm not going to say where, but some people listening may know. It would say, like, listen to this. This is good shit. Fear is an evil and corroding thread. It seems to cause more damage than stealing. When fear made us cocky, it was worse. You know what I mean? When I was drinking and using, that's what I was. I felt like a piece of shit. Lower, beyond God's help. I couldn't look in the mirror at my fucking self. People would tell me all the time, you got something on your face. Because I wouldn't look in the mirror at myself. I couldn't. You know? I couldn't look at my own hands or stampede in my own skin. I hated myself so much. So I went out there and acted cocky so you wouldn't know that. And, you know, a common thread today when you see all these cocky bastards, even in our industry, that talk a lot of shit and put themselves over and become marks for themselves. That's at the end of the day what they're trying to hide. In this industry, or any industry in my opinion, low self-esteem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's compensation.
Yeah. So that being said, we're talking right now about, people are talking about AEW's viewership is low, Vince's ratings are low. You know what I mean? Oh, it's because there's no crowds. Bull fucking shit. Because our stuff is coming up. Okay? We don't have media outlets. Everything we do is based upon hard work and motherfucking sweat equity because we have nothing to invest into this shit. And look what we do. Our shit is coming up. Just take 3 zeros off and that proves that, you know what I mean? If you added 3 zeros, we would be a contender. You know what I mean? Why is that shit down and our shit's coming up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and why was wrestling so popular in the 80s when Turner was shooting WCW in front of just that dinky studio? But they were still pulling in revenue like a son of a bitch.
I'll say it again. You know, I've said it before and I'll say it again. And at the end of the day, today, even when you can draw a crowd, you will not compete with Vincent McMahon. You know, proof AEW had one big show like that. One, maybe two. Let's go ahead and say 1.5. You don't know what happened. The first one was a fucking huge sellout success. They lost their fucking ass. Okay? So imagine having to fill that building where they lost their ass and now add TV production to it and do it every fucking week. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I'm not even going to try to compete with Vince. I'm not going to try to compete with Vince with the fucking entrance. I'm not going to try to compete with Vince with production value because we can't. Yes, we need more than one camera. It's coming. Hang in there. What I'm going to do is try to fucking be a wrestling company because that's the way I was a wrestling company. We're not going to say, we're coming to you from the All-State Arena. Suck my balls. We're in the studio and we're taping fucking compelling matches. In some cases, in a lot of cases, these matches are better than what you fucking saw on Raw or the pay-per-view that same week. You know what I mean? Let's do that and start from there because it's going to take a long time, especially after Corona bullshit, for anybody to compete with that guy. And the other thing is Vince has sold up all the big buildings in the fucking country.
Yep.
You know, he has the exclusive rights, whether it says exclusive rights in the contracts or not, because wrestling can't come this many weeks before or after Vince, and he's already got his schedule.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, I'm going to spray my cat. My one cat is trying to hump my other cat. I hate doing this, but hey, Humpy Humperson.
This is what happens.
Hey.
This is what happens when you meow during the podcast. Get sprayed in the face.
Well, it's not meow, man. I just know the hump meow versus the regular meow.
See, I've never had cats, so I don't know that. I've always had dogs.
Well, I'm the asshole that's got to get him fixed, but I feel bad.
Yeah.
He loves his nuts.
I used to work in a vet office, so I saw a lot of cats get neutered. It's
that could be.
I understand your apprehension.
Well, your stories could be in part why I feel so bad. You know, it's got to get done though, but I'll get it done.
Yeah, but the
anyway,
vet I worked for was a bitch, so I'm sure she didn't do it right.
Still, it's fucking. But anyway, you know, that's what's up. That's what AEW. We're the non-WWE. Well, then why mention them? You know what I mean? Why mention them then? Every fucking show, every fucking interview.
If you're anti-WWE, why are you going out there? Why is Cody going out there with a sledgehammer to break up a throne that's obviously a jab at Triple H? Oh, we're anti-WWE. Then why are you putting WWE over? You're slamming them, but you're bringing eyes to them.
Yeah.
It's kind of that old adage: any publicity is good publicity. You know.
And it's just, oh God, ridiculous. I saw so much money burned when XWF did what it did. When all they talked about, dude, their fucking slogan, their T-shirt was "No more prima donnas." They ran 3 live events and 1 taping, and they were out. Their whole thing with their business model was a slap at Vince. Then Dixie Carter, and Impact Wrestling took away. They thought they're going to build their name on ex-WWE talent. If Vince McMahon gets rid of somebody, there's a fucking reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he gets rid of somebody for a little while, there's a fucking reason. And you can't build up a fucking company like that. Your smart guys will leave because whatever time is and keep their mouth shut is to not have heat, and then go become a huge name in Japan, possibly Mexico, and keep the door open, i.e. Bobby Lashley. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Shit like that. But,
or AJ Styles or Samoa Joe.
Yeah, AJ was real smart, Joe as well, but you know what I'm saying? There's not too many out there that are that fucking smart, and they leave and they talk all that shit, and then they're fucked.
Yep.
So what do? You fucking develop talent, which is what we're doing.
Yeah. And that's what it is. You've said it so many times. This is about it's a wrestling school that does live tapings.
Yep. Exactly. We don't even fucking call them events.
Yeah.
Studio tapings.
Yep. And that's why we have the studios, so these guys can learn to, and even non-workers like myself can learn to work in front of a crowd. Yeah, well, being around it, you learn it. Everybody learns. Everybody pays dues. Howard fucking Finkel. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He paid motherfucking dues. You can look back into the old shit from the Madison Square Garden, Philadelphia Spectrum, the stuff that Vince doesn't have sole rights to, that's still in the library, and see those guys breaking in and what they had to do. Taking jackets. I've seen Howard take jackets. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Shit like that, and then they spawn that into Mark Lawrence. We were just talking about Mark Lawrence from fucking World Class. Spawning that into careers. Mm-hmm. Launching pad. You know what I mean? Teddy Long, another one. He started by gathering up, he was setting up the ring and taking jackets, then he was a referee, but he worked his way up. Jim Cornette, fucking photographer, selling programs. You know what I mean? Yep. And it's all on how you learn how to handle your business, learn the politics, become genuine and likable, And that shows your love for the business, too, that you're willing to do anything just to be around it. And what you do when you dealt with when you fuck up. Yep. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. When you fuck up, you gotta be a classy motherfucker. That's why I just don't have patience for these indie idiots, because it just, to me, of course it's a free country, they have a right, but it just makes it so hard for someone like me to look at that and go, what's your fucking motivation, you fucking egomaniac? There we go. Let's go back to it. I believe in my heart, fear is an evil and corroding thread. When fear makes us cocky, it's worse. You know what I mean? And that's what happens with these cocky pricks. Legend in your own mind, Yeah. This is an industry, a business. I love it. I respect it since the moment I walked into it. I just don't see any respect in it when you go out there with these watered down versions and pretend like you're fucking somebody. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't mean somebody with self-esteem. I'm talking about cocky prick who's compensating. People between 35 and 50 years old in 2020 that are all fucking gassed up on the shit to work once every 5 to 6 weeks over the course of a year. Pretend like there's something. Yeah. Because then you guys see that shit and you think all companies that aren't Vince aren't worth your time, worth your dollars, Yeah. Yeah, and I think we would be a lot further ahead if it wasn't for that, and being an independent company being attached to that stigma. Yeah. Even though there's a difference, indie wrestling versus independent pro wrestling. Yeah. There's still almost a guilt by association.
There is, man. But, you know, what else are we going to do right now?
Yeah.
You know, we're getting there, so we just got to keep working harder, you know. 40,000 subscribers. More subscribers than anybody in Illinois or Wisconsin. All of them combined.
And I was thinking, too, at the end of last year, you know, that article came out, the top 100 wrestling companies on YouTube. We were number 28. 26. I thought it was 28. Okay, but 26. And that was when we had just crossed 30,000.
Yeah.
So one can only imagine where we are in the rankings now.
Yeah, you know, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing, and we'll keep the revenue streams going like this, like Patreon, and like the pivot share, you know, subscribing.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and what's popular on YouTube? It's these small, independent companies.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, it's another problem, man. Is that, oh God, you know, when I get independent video from people, nobody can wrestle more than fucking 7 or 8 minutes, but they got a fucking like 3.5 minute goddamn ring entrance. I won't watch. I'll go, fuck this. You know what I mean? I won't watch. I don't want to see that shit. No one's got time for that shit. And I think, how can a fan get through this to get to what he actually does? Then when he does it, he's just doing the same shit he regurgitated from the Monday before.
Yeah.
You know? Or some half-speed ass lucha shit. You know what I mean? Lucha is not entertaining done half-speed by Americans.
No, it's not. It's really hard to find. And I grew up as a fan of the lucha style. I mean, I remember, you know, we used to get, you know, AAA and CMLL on various channels.
On Gala.
I was blown away by how these guys could, you know, fly around the ring. And to this day, I admit I'm a mark for the lucha style.
Yeah.
But it's so hard to find compelling lucha in the States now. And I know that, you know, Lucha Underground, they tried, but most of their guys were, you know, cherry-picked just from around the country.
Well, you know, and that was a work, too, because I don't understand why, but Puerto Rican workers and Mexican workers have this desire to be on television in the States, you know?
Yeah.
And when you look at Lucha Underground, they were under fucking contracts and they were on TV, but they didn't get paid shit because they tried to tape everything in a week. You know what I mean? And then you can't work here, there, or anywhere else without the express written approval of this cocksucker or that cocksucker. Now, they barely showed matches in their entirety, so you missed most of the good shit because these guys are in the ring working. They don't know when they're going to cut to that stupid shit in between, which was telling a horrible fucking story.
Oh, you talking about those stupid mafia-style vignettes that
Just
they used to...
terrible.
Oh, God.
But they wouldn't show the real workers in their entirety. You know what I mean? They would do everything they could to take away from what was different about them. And just like everything else, it ran its fucking course because, well, no one's watching, man. We've got this many millions and we better just close it. You know what I mean? That's just stupid, you know? That's a perfect example of reinventing the fucking wheel. We're going to do wrestling like it's never been done before.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Well, look at what happened.
Yeah.
Every time someone tries it. I heard something, maybe I should read more into it, but Jericho said some shit. And again, I don't get a lot, but I saw this in my feed that he's going to go back to Vince after he's done at AEW. Like, I'm going to see if he really said that, but it's like, how in the fuck? You know, you're saying that when this fucking fails, I'll just go back to Vince.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What? You know? Huh. Well, wow. Hey, guys, have a lot of faith in this one.
Yeah, really.
You know?
Oh. See, what is that saying? That the guy who is essentially your top star is saying shit like that. That, I mean, of course, that is if he actually said it.
No, he did, but he actually said it, but I have to, here, one day ago, Chris Jericho addresses the possibility of going back to WWE. Well, here's another one. Okay, this is comic book. The next one says, Chris Jericho says he will never return to WWE. Well, The first thing is, you're too old, brother. No offense. But you've always done best when you are agented. You know? you had work done to your body, and now that work, you're just past the threshold. It's not going to happen. Behind the stage, maybe, you know. Let's see here. Chris Jericho jumped to wall, blah, 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 blah. Chris Jericho's jump was one of the company's biggest moves during the first year as a promotion. Jericho's decision came as a shock to many, not me, because where the fuck else is he going to go at his age? Considering the number of years he'd spent with Vince, blah, 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 and as months passed, more information about his decision, blah, blah, blah. During last Saturday night special on his YouTube page, Jericho was asked if he'd ever go back to WWE. The former undisputed WWE champion made it sound like there was no chance. It's not going to happen. I really enjoy being in AEW. I love my time. Okay. Well, where's the part that says this with the bullshit title? This is comic book addresses the possibility. Okay, well then I must have read some fucking clickbait. Never mind then. Sorry.
But you know what? I have to believe that, because how many guys have we seen come back to Vince we never thought would come back? I think when AEW inevitably fails, at some point or another, Jericho will be back. Maybe not in the ring, but like you said, maybe backstage in some capacity.
Yeah.
Maybe for the Hall of Fame. I don't know. I just feel like, you know, we've seen a lot of surprises. Jeff Jarrett, great example. Nobody ever thought you'd see him around
Well,
WWE
I
again.
read some clickbait. Because, yeah, I'm finding 4 or 5 that says he won't return.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, now here's one that says he won't return for a long time. How much motherfucking time you idiots think he has?
It's 50 years old. We're closing in on it.
Oh, here's what he said. It'll be a long time before I go back, if I ever go back. If I never go back, it's fine. If I never wrestle another match, it wouldn't bother me. When did he say this shit? In an interview with Dan Goldstein, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Well, he said this shit a long time ago when he was leaving there. When he was leaving there. Well, okay, let's say this. If I never wrestle another match, it wouldn't bother me. Well, that's not true. You're trying to make yourself the top guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not being an asshole. I'm just saying, man. Too old. Pass the torch. Pass the torch. You know, obviously, no one wants to see somebody my age out there doing this. There's no longevity in it. It's a good gimmick once in a while.
Yeah.
You know? Pass the torch.
Yeah. A lot of these guys, they get into their 50s and they think they can be Vern Gagne still going at that age, but...
Vern was a different story. You know, and don't forget, when Vern was 30, he looked 50 because he was bald.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it wasn't cool to shave your head. You tried to do the comb over. You know what I mean? It's different, and Vern owned the company, you know? I get it with guys like Vern and Bruiser to an extent, because as long as they had name value and drew, people paid to see them. That was cool. You know, they work differently than we do today, so I don't see it getting over, you know? Unfortunately, I mean, look at the original La Parca, you know what I mean? Shit like that happens, you know? We're too old, we can't do it no more.
Yeah.
You know?
Some guys just don't know when to quit, though.
No. Nope. And that's, again, you know, becoming a slave to that ego, you know?
Yeah.
You know, if Lawler was still drawn in Memphis, they'd probably still be running Memphis. You know what I mean? The problem is making another Jerry the King Lawler. And you can't be Jerry the King Lawler Jr.
No,
You know what I mean? But it's creating somebody like that.
Right.
You know, and
somebody who can recreate that that appeal and that drawing power.
Yeah. And the other part is that today people know so much more. You have to be able to... You can't dance your way through it anymore. They'll see through it if you're the shits in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And there's eyes everywhere now with the internet and the clickbait, like you just found out.
Yeah, I guess I got fucked on that one. If it comes up again, I'll read it. I didn't click on it, but I thought, oh, that's something I want to talk about here, you know. if the guy says he's going to go back. I mean, Kurt used to do that stuff when. Here's an example. When I was there, the first thing, Kurt, I guess, was friends with Rey Mysterio, Chavo. Those are the guys that come to mind off the top of my head. And he would say, hey guys, come work here. I'm making the same money I work for Vince, and I only got to work this many times a month. Well, Ray was thinking about it, or at least it was, that's what Kurt had told the Carters, or Dixie anyway. But, and it would make sense for Ray to jump ship if he could make that kind of money, because no matter where the fuck Ray went, Ray's younger than Kurt, he could always come back, and he would always do well. I mean, if I was Ray, I would just stay in Mexico and fucking, have some control over the way I was used, because the guy is royalty down there. You know what I mean? He wouldn't have to put himself through all this. You know what I mean? But when he would say, "I've talked to them, and I'm gonna," and he'd tell the internet that, that's basically saying, "Yeah, guys, come here and we'll work these people and work only 5 times a month." You know what I mean? But that belittled the company, made the company work worthless compared to Vince. Again, it's just create your own talent. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Who's somebody? Can you think of anybody that's been created that hasn't been done before?
Not really.
Outside of WWE.
Well, I don't watch much outside of WWE anymore, so I can't really say.
But the names of people.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, everybody is taking bits and pieces off of everybody else.
Yeah.
It may be a composite to create something new and original, but I haven't seen something truly original. I don't think in my lifetime. I mean, back when I started watching, in the early '90s, it was, that was when it was very cartoony. So obviously, I don't think before that they'd ever had a wrestling trash man or a wrestling dentist. But
but those didn't get over.
Yeah, no.
No one's gonna remember Duke the Dumpster Josie. Here's an example. 1 year ago, I heard the name Luchasaurus. Okay? I haven't fucking heard it since.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, I thought to myself, that's kind of, just the name alone, that's intriguing. And I say to you guys, what the fuck's a Luchasaurus? He's a big guy who wrestles as a luchador. Well, if he could go out there and imitate the style, to me, that's kind of entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, they didn't, because I haven't heard the name since.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
He's been working with AEW, but I don't think he's making a whole lot with them, because I've seen his face on posters for indie shows in this area. So obviously, he's not making enough there to make a living. So.
Well, I heard the name prior to that, but also, you know what was something new and different? Fucking Kong.
Awesome Kong?
Awesome Kong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
That's the last thing I can remember. And where was that spawned from? Mine and Dutch's inception of the Divas. She was a female road warrior. She had a lot of sidebars where Dutch would say, "Randy, come here," only for backup. Because there you're working against everybody, and you weren't trying to get your shit in out of ego. You were trying to fucking look out for these assholes, meaning the Carters and her people, who couldn't look out for themselves, which inadvertently would affect Amaya, Kaya, Awesome Kong. No matter what anybody tells you, don't take a fucking bump out there until we tell you it's time. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No matter what, fight them. What are they going to do? We built her up. She's something that's never been done before. She used to work when she was healthy and younger as a female road warrior, and the fucking people responded.
Yeah, well, nothing like her had really ever been seen in the States before. I mean, yeah, Vince tried to create female monsters in the past before, with what was her name? Bull Nakano. But at that point, women...
Oh, she was hammered shit by then, though. She was beat up from, all those years in Japan. She wasn't a young woman when that happened, but also didn't know how to do it. And I don't even think she spoke English, so they didn't know how to communicate with her. You know what I mean? And she was just fat. Kaya was big. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kaya wasn't fat, per se. Kaya was just a big, strong girl. You know what I mean? Bull had been beaten up. She probably was stronger too at one point, but she was too old by the time Vince got a hold of her.
Yeah. Well, at that point, the women's division in WWE wasn't strong because they were trying to build the whole thing on Alundra Blaze, who, God bless her, she was talented, but the fans just weren't, at that point, they weren't buying it.
No, Medusa needed to work every night with people that
Medusa, that was her name.
Yeah.
Medusa Maselli.
People that could carry her. She's doing, I know she's, when I was at, I know she was doing good, I want to say with Monster Truck when I was at TNA. I know she was doing good outside of wrestling, But I don't know, I don't think either company ever used her right either, because at the time there weren't really women around that could carry her. And I'm not digging on her. Compared to today's women, she could teach them a lot.
Okay.
But if Sherry Martel and Medusa could have worked on a grand stage like for Vince against each other, or Medusa and Luna for a year and then do something huge, she could have learned from a lot from Luna Rashawn and from fucking Sherry Martel, how to actually work and storytell. You know what I mean? She was good looking, especially by female wrestling standards, but again, when she started working, it was the same shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, they got to come up with something different, something better, and that's what we're trying to do. But we're getting there. Again, I'm not in a rush. I don't want to what do they call it, fucking hot shot it, because they've hot shotted so many guys that ended up fucking failing.
Yeah.
And women as well. I still think that if TNA would have fucking taken care of the fucking knockouts and focused on the knockouts as main, sometimes and semi-main before Vince, that shit would still have them formidable, and the Carters would have been making some fucking money.
Oh, by far.
You know what I mean?
If they had kept their focus on the knockouts in the X division, TNA would still be a hot commodity right now.
Yeah, well, they fucking treated them, paying $300 a night. Okay, you complained, we'll give you $4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck you. While they fucking have a segment with Hulk on it, Nash on it, Sting on it, Jeff on it. I mean, Booker T on it, and goddamn Gail Kim and fucking Kaya Awesome Kong was doubling their fucking segments in the ratings.
Yep.
Doubling their segments in the ratings. That's just make me sick just thinking about it. I went there so thinking that we were going to fucking do something, and at the end of the day, make it better for the fan, and also some really cool, good young talent. You know what I mean? AJ's over now. He's over.
Oh yeah.
He's been over.
He's still over like a motherfucker.
I just can't help but think that if it was a 15-year younger AJ Styles, he wouldn't be 3 times as over.
Yeah, he's.
Yeah,
he stuck around TNA and then went to Japan and then he got scooped up. He can still go, but it's definitely not the AJ Styles of old. But the guy's 43 years old?
Well, and again, he's kind of like a white Ronnie Killings, man. I mean, the things that they do, even their basics were done so special that were theirs. You could tell, I'm sure you can tell the difference between a basic move by AJ or Ronnie Killings versus a basic move by somebody from Ring of Honor or an internet darling today. You know what I mean?
By far.
Ronnie Killings' elbow gets a bigger pop than, you know what I mean? It's more marketable than...
And there's one guy who can still do that just like he did, 20 years ago.
Yeah, he can't do as much, but we had this talk in 2005. I said, man, motherfucker, don't worry about getting old. All your basics are so fucking special. You'll be 50 years old and you'll still be able to get pops with that shit. Look at just you throwing an elbow. You know what I mean? The guy has got it, Is he still over? Is he still a factor on TV?
He's been kind of pulled back a little bit. He's one of those guys, I don't want to say that they're giving him a push, but he's over with the crowd, so they have him do various things, like the, honestly I think it's stupid, but that 24/7 championship, which is just kind of a PG version of the hardcore title, when that is on him, that title's over. Because he can be entertaining with it.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was last year, or maybe even early this year. You know, he had the belt and he was trying. You know, he was hiding from everybody. It was during a match with Cesaro, I want to say. Cesaro goes under the ring, pulls out a table, and there's Ron Killings laying on the table, hiding from everybody. He looks over at Cesaro, gives this big doofy smile, like, "Oh, hey!"
That's pretty cool.
and the crowd popped. And what's cool about it though is that he's over to the point where I don't think they're going to push him to the top.
No,
but
you can't. He's too old.
Their last show in Saudi Arabia, they had I can't remember what they called it, but it was like a Gauntlet Cup match, and they pushed him from the beginning through I think 3 or 4 rounds, and he went over on guys like and Andrade and guys who were pretty well established at that point. And then the only when he finally went out, only when they put Styles into it, because at that point they were trying to build Styles and the Undertaker for Mania.
Sure.
But the crowd ate it up. They ate it up.
Good. Couldn't happen to a better fucking human being. Honest to Christ.
Yeah.
You know, honest to Christ.
And he's got his own show on the network now. It's like a I think it's called the R-Truth Game Show.
Jeez, man, and
it's entertaining as all hell.
He's an entertaining guy.
Oh God.
You know, so marketable. It's so funny, but to think that in 2005 he was thinking that his time was passing. 2006 his time was passing. Look at that. Fucking 15 years later, he's making more money than he's ever made. You know?
Yep.
And I love it. Like I said, again, a fucking nice guy. He deserves it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Who would you rather be? Well, I can't think of an individual off the top of my head. But let's say one of those internet darling fans, or goddamn... what was that kid's name that played the Italian? Santino Marella.
Oh, Santino.
You know, look at that run. I'd rather have his bank account, and you know what I mean, and not have all the fucking arthritis than, you know, hey man, I do it for the love of the business, man. You know what I mean? Fucking great. I thought that was one of the smartest guys on the roster. Mm-hmm. You know, look how long the guy was prominent in the industry.
Mm-hmm. and he got over. He started doing all the silly shit, letting himself get humiliated on camera, but the people ate it up and they loved him.
But humiliated on camera, what does that mean? He's playing
but
a fucking
I mean,
part.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. You know,
I'm not saying that toward you personally.
No, but comic relief. You know, he let himself get. He let himself be the comic relief.
We're playing a part.
Yeah, but because of that, he got over.
Just fucking outstanding.
Honestly, when he first started doing that Cobra thing, I thought that was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen. But then you see how the crowd reacted to it, and they started selling those things. They had those Cobra sleeves. They sold. God, they probably made a mint on those things, because every time he'd come out, you'd see at least half the crowd. They had him on their hands, and they were doing the Cobra thing.
Well, it's just funny to me because, like you said, I heard about it. And I thought, what the fuck? I gotta see this. This sounds terrible. When you watch the guy do it, it's fucking amazing.
Yep.
You know?
And then the shit, even the small shit like the unibrow that he grew at one point.
Oh my God.
That power walk he used to do to the ring where he looked like, what was Jerry's cousin on Tom and Jerry, the tough mouse that Tom was afraid of. That's what it reminded me of. It's the same kind of walk.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, it's like a bull.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Muscles.
Yeah.
How do I remember that?
I don't know.
Oh, dude, but there again, that was an original character. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That was something original, you know? He got... God, I'd love this breakdown how many bumps he took, like, the last 10 years of his career, and figure out how much he got paid per bump. Yeah. You know what I mean? Versus what he earned. I mean, fucking A, that guy was entertaining, you know? Santina, when he did Santina and Santino, that was the greatest shit I've ever seen, man. You know?
Oh my God.
That was just outstanding.
All due respect to the guy for being willing to put on makeup, put on a wig, put on a dress, and go out there and entertain the people.
Oh, and do the voice, you know? Let's see what his net worth is. Net worth. Oh yeah, it comes up. Well, it says here he only has an estimated worth of $300,000.
Still, that's not bad.
That's not fucking lot more
10
than
times what a lot of people make.
My net worth is not even 300. So now give me another guy, and we'll check their net worth. Who's another guy?
You want to check on Killings, since we were talking about him?
Well, let's see Ron's kill. This would be great. Hang on a second. Let's see if it comes up as Ron Killings or R-Truth.
If this doesn't show you guys how improv this podcast is, we went from talking about serious stuff to looking up guys' net worth online.
What's wrong with that? People like this
I know.
stuff. Like this stuff.
I'm not knocking it.
$3 million!
Holy shit, are you serious?
Yeah. Ron Killings' net worth. Ron Killings is an American professional wrestler, rapper, and actor who has a net worth of $3 million.
No shit. Well, he's earned it.
Fuck yeah. Let's see what Edge's is. The Edge or Edge?
Just Edge.
Edge net worth.
The Edge is the guitar player for U2.
14 million, lucky cocksucker. The goddamn Vikings, dude.
Yeah.
I bet that was lucrative as fuck.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
That's what Ronnie needs to land now, is one of these fucking series.
Yeah.
You know? That's just, that's outstanding to me, man. You know, I'm not kidding you. 2005, Ron was actually thinking it was over. You know, the crew that was supposed to be part of IWA Puerto Rico, when we had backing, when we had a venture capitalist behind us, myself was going to go down and handle the business, and the Harris boys were going to be down there, who would draw because they were giants, and also Ronnie and Donnie liked me, so I wouldn't have to worry about getting stabbed. And then Ronnie Killings, because Ronnie Killings could carry anybody on their roster. And that's an 05 when Ronnie thought he wasn't going to be fought. He was so disheartened because he thought he was too old. His time had passed or was passing. Isn't that great? And then fast forward to today and see what he's worth.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean, like I said, he earned it. He's worth $3 million. He's earned every penny.
Yep. And counting.
Yeah.
And don't forget, that's what he reports.
Yeah, that's true. And now with the show on the network, it's probably going to be even more.
Fucking A. I love that shit. Wouldn't you rather be that guy, the long term, than just fucking, I worked for Vince for 2 years.
Oh, God, yeah.
You know?
Oh, God, yeah. Especially looking at where he was 20 years ago, thinking being working for Vince and then, you know, not working for Vince, probably thinking he was probably never going to work for Vince again, getting over in TNA, coming back to work for Vince, and he's been there, in this run, he's been there 12 years now.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah.
And the way they mistreated him, like I said, you know, the way they mistreated Ronnie Killings, then called and begged him to come because he's the only one that could carry that putting their foot in their fucking mouth with Pac-Man Jones, you know?
Yeah.
Now, Pac-Man's a nice guy. It isn't his fault. He's not a bad fucking guy. You know what I mean? I met the guy, was at his house, you know what I mean, all that shit. He's a good guy. He was just in a fuck position because the idea was fucking stupid and terrible.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember that.
Yep, and they just let go of Ron after mistreating his fucking ass and then begged him to come back, you know?
Yeah.
Begged him to come back because he had some name recognition. He's the only one that could have carried that stupid storyline, which is fucked to begin with, you know?
Yeah.
They thought, no exposure is bad exposure, till you find out the fucking 3 days beforehand the guy can't get in the ring and touch anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They actually had the 6 sides of shit set up in Pac-Man's yard to train him.
Oh, Jesus.
You know what I mean? And all that for nothing. You know?
Well, why don't we take it home, because we're closing in on an hour for this week, and I got to get back and start working on the Gauntlet from Saturday.
It was a good match.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of an hour, that thing went, hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah,
compelling, front to back.
Yes, I was satisfied with that. Well, fuck, okay, well, why don't you go ahead and put the thumbnail on this for Ronnie, put Ronnie Killings up there.
I was thinking that. I think that'd be really interesting for people to hear.
Especially since he's so fucking over, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He's just a good guy. He spent some time in AAA as well. He was friends, probably still is friends with Conan, you know?
Yeah.
But, man, you know, there's nobody more deserving of a fucking spot and that kind of net worth today than Ronnie Killings. You know?
Yeah.
least now he knows he can take care of his and take care of himself, and he can retire anytime. You know, and again, I'm not trying to bury Chris Jericho at all. You know, I'm not. I'm just saying that, you know, if I'm that motherfucker and I have all those interests, he obviously loves music. When it comes to why not focus on that and be happy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why not do that and be happy? Is there another way you can be more useful? And I think he can be more useful outside of the ring. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's got so much experience, been so many places, worked with so many motherfuckers. Pass that shit on. You know what I mean? So whatever. I'm not busting on him. And for anybody that says whatever about me, check the fucking math. I mean, Chris, you know, yes, he did fuck around in Canada under the Hearts. Fuck around. And what I mean by that is Calgary, I don't believe it's running. He didn't work in Memphis. He did work a little bit in Smoky Mountain. It was running probably at their fucking peak 2.5 times a week. So check my bullshit, you know. I worked fucking 8 times a week down there for 9 months, and then I went down for another fucking 9 months or so and worked 15 times a week. So I have the right to say whatever the fuck I want to say based upon goddamn experience, you know.
Mm-hmm. Someone with what? Oh, there was a quote I heard this last week. Applies. I can't remember who said it, but someone with experience is not at the mercy of someone with an opinion.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll have to look that back up and get back to you with who said it.
Well, that's the truth. I mean, you know, when I look back, you know, then it wasn't so much thinking about everything I was getting into. It was thinking, I got to learn this industry, and I got to learn it now. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got to get off my ass. I don't care if I have $100 in my pocket. I got to go to Memphis and try.
Yep.
They're working every night. What better spot could I be in? You know what I mean? And that's what I did. Mm-hmm. By myself. You know? Guys didn't technically travel by themselves. I don't know anybody else that went and took that shot by themselves with no motherfucking landing net. You know, again, I left home at 15. I didn't have the safety net to come home to. You know what I mean?
So, for this week, you guys make sure, if you didn't come out on Saturday, check out the Armageddon Gauntlet on Pivot Share this week.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Along with the undercard. Great undercard, too. And then, you guys are already subscribed. We're grateful as hell to you. Yeah. But when the clip goes to YouTube this week, there's always a free clip. Make sure you share that around.
Yeah.
Share it around, spread the word. You know, we've been hearing a lot of good compliments about this podcast, about how compelling it is. So
yeah, I haven't heard any bad fucking responses, which is
and you've gotten pretty controversial at times. So
yeah,
you know, and nobody stirred shit up about that. So
which is surprising.
Yeah.
You know.
So obviously there's something that people like about it. So share that free clip, get the word out. You know, make sure you check out the Armageddon Gauntlet and the whole taping on Pivot Share this week. And then, stay tuned. Any words of wisdom as we cut out, Rand?
Yes. Hang on a second. I had it and I lost it. You said something that fucking tripped me up. Something sensible. As the GOAT says from Adam Sandler's CD, What in the Hell Happened to Me? Have good mosh